Podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network. kingofpodcasts.com.
A new research study tells us something about online dating that we already knew.
We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the King of Podcasts.
We have a lot to cover tonight. Depraved and debaucherous, King of Podcasts. Another great week of programming courtesy of the King of Podcasts radio network. And first thing I want to go ahead and make a mention of before we get things started tonight, a quick tribute. Someone that was pretty formidable when I first started going into podcasting some 20 years ago, just shortly after I got into the business of podcasting. Todd Cochran, who was the host of the New Media Show and was the founder of Blubrry, Blubrry, a very popular podcast hosting analytics service, and Raw Voice. Passed away at the age of 61, and too soon to see that happen. But he was crucial, a very much a podcasting pioneer in terms of helping podcasters like myself get a wrap around the industry, the technology, and the equipment that we needed to be able to go and create podcasts. He was very important to podcasting. So if you haven't had a chance to go and catch his show, he's done loads of episodes. Take a chance and look for his show, The New Media Show, on all major podcast platforms and find out about it because he did cool stuff. Stand-up guy. So Todd Cochran, rest in peace. Godspeed, my friend. Now, coming up, I want to talk about a study that came out regarding what we're learning from meeting partners online and how it relates to lower relationship satisfaction and love. And data from over 50 countries are brought into this particular story. So we can give that into you as well, and you can learn all about it. We're going to talk about that in just a few moments, but I want to go into some other things that also came up as the week has gone along and some of the commentary of past episodes. Namely the one about tattoos, because, man, people just cannot let that go. It's just there. It continues. It's gotten so many downloads. I'm pretty happy about it. It's only 3 years ago that I did a 10-minute episode on why trauma leads with tons of tattoos and piercings. And, of course, I've done other stories after this. But more commentary coming in. First of all, there was a comment responding back to Clippy McClipper, who said that tattoos, it's a socially accepted form of self-harm. It's also a way for people to identify issues to cope. Nero DB writes, no, it doesn't. You don't have to take your favorite shirt off. It's not for attention. Makio 1999 says, imagine being so bored with your life. You have to do a video trying your damnedest to psychologically profile people with tattoos. I mean, you can say that, and you can make it a point of why I decided to go and bring this up. But, I mean, I just think what the culture change has happened. And don't tell me it's, just getting older and, people are just changing. I get it, but there was a time where you didn't see as rampant of people going to the tattoo parlor as you do now. And again, I always say, yes, there are absolutely reasons for people to go and have it for some cultural identification or for family reasons or whatever it is. That's okay. But I can tell that more women, specifically women, are getting more tattoos than ever. And it's not something that just is natural, I think. I get more feedback from Akio 1999. He says, dog, if you don't like tattooed hot women, then just say that. Swear to GD, it adds to the beauty. And you're entitled to that. And there's a lot of more people that are probably more in majority thinking the way you do, Makio, than I am. That's okay. But I'm going to put it out because this program, it is something that is, as I call the show, depraved and debaucherous. It is depravity when you decide to say that adds to the beauty. But I'm the kind of person that doesn't really doesn't require me to go and see a woman that's all dolled up in makeup and like in a great dress. I don't need all that. I just like a natural woman that just looks great in a pair of jeans and casual looking. I mean, I like that. It's a personal preference. So you can say what you want about that, but that's where I'm at. And then somebody writes, basically a haiku here, it feels like. This is from Michael Cursives, 2057. He says, your skin is the largest organ of the body. It's designed to protect all your interior systems. I am not blessed with the abilities of the chameleon. Perhaps the tattoos are a subliminal need to hide or assimilate one's inner self with the outside predatory world that we all come to know is there. Let that sink in deep. You all know I am right, no shame either way. Just overcome your own trials, and grow wiser than the serpent. Selah. You know, that's a very interesting and insightful thought. A lot of thought put into that. And taking away that one part right there, overcome your own trials, grow wiser than the serpent. So I kind of interpret that is somebody that, when people talk about tattoo regret, they're in the point where they feel like when you get it done at the time that you're doing it, how much time you think about before you decide to go ahead and put it on your body. And then when you do it, are you inebriated? Are you in some kind of state of despair or, happiness or whatever your feelings are, young, adventurous, wild and free? We don't know. But what's the mindset you had before you decide to go and do it? And you ask yourself 10, 20, 30 years down the line, if you get married, if you have a relationship, if you, become a professional, whatever it is, is that something that you want to have represent you for the rest of your life? Because people will point it out forever, unless you're getting it to conceal. And then next, Lack 1972 writes, yep, be aware of anyone with a lot of tats and piercings because each one is a reminder of something dramatic that happened in her life, and you will have the rest of her life to be reminded of all the mistakes she's made. Stay the hell away, guys. Now, I'm not saying that at all about the thoughts of guys that want to go ahead and be with girls because they like girls with all the tattoos on them. Or even that there are certain things that identify with those tattoos. We could talk about this on another show. So it's okay to be however you feel about it. But in my opinion, I want it to be, and I say this over and over, that if a woman's going to go ahead and get into that point of starting to get multiple tattoos, just constant, and there's a thing where what led to her feeling that way. Some women are going to just do it just because they're going to do it. That's fine. But there are some women that I think they fall into a path of, if they went through something traumatic or psychological or horrific, and they don't feel beautiful anymore, they don't feel like they feel comfortable in their skin, and there's some mental trauma that has not been worked out, is that a way that is going to be healthy in order to go in for someone to go and overcome the trauma they went through? That's the question. And I don't know if there's an answer out there, but I've been looking for studies constantly that support what I'm talking about. And I'm going to continue to do that because people keep asking me to do it, so I will. So that's going to go forward. Studies, we like here on this program. I like to go and back it up with what is out there by science. Why not? I like to go and put that out there. Now, in here, this study from telematics and informatics from the University of Wrocław in Poland and their Institute of Psychology, they put out a story about relationships and the fact that people that are meeting through online dating is related to lower relationship satisfaction and love. So here's what we got out of this. In the abstract, they say that the internet has fundamentally reshaped how people meet and form relationships. They did a cross-cultural study, large scale, 50 countries sampled. The prevalence of online partner meeting was examined, the demographic correlates of the trend, and its association with relationship satisfaction and experiencing love. They analyzed data from over 6,000 partnered individuals. The ages, first of all, median age was 41 years old. 16% of these participants met their partners online, and the figure rose to 21% among those who initiated their romantic relationships after 2010. Now, those that have a lower socioeconomic status were more likely to have met their partners online. So if you don't have that high discretionary income out there, then you might look for someone online as opposed to going out and meeting somebody in public because you don't have the means for it. It makes sense. They found no significant differences in the likelihood of online relationship information based on gender or age. That partners, on average, who met their partners online reported lower relationship satisfaction and lower intensity of experienced love compared to those who met offline, with effect sizing ranging from small to medium. And they underscore that the need to enhance support for improving relationship quality among all couples, particularly those who meet their partners online. So it's very interesting, the fact that it's something we kind of already knew. That they talk about the fact that the ways that people find and choose their partners have changed dramatically over time, and partner selection for most of our lifetimes and most of the world was constrained by one's immediate social environment, consisting of individuals in close geographic proximity. And the internet has changed that meeting landscape, and digital technologies like social media now allow individuals to connect, communicate, and build romantic relationships with people they might have never encountered otherwise. And that's a point that's going to be made here, that everything has changed for people out there that want to go ahead and find love, because online dating and social media changed the whole demographic. Okay, because when we're looking at trying to find someone that fits what we're looking for, okay? I'm talking about the fact that when we met people in our lives, I mean, I think about the fact that when I tried to go and meet with somebody at the very beginning, and I'm saying to myself, I look at the girls on TikTok, I look at the girls on Instagram, I look at the girls on social media in general, and I see the beauty out there, and I see the women that are so desirable and so beautiful and so loving, and I feel there's an abundance of women out there. When they always talk about there's plenty of fish to see, the social media and online dating proves that point. We always knew that was out there, but now we see it. And now that we're exposed to it for all these years, it's taken away the whole idea of, so whatever is in our backyard, whoever we know around us isn't good enough. And I'll admit, when I look at people, and I'm in South Florida where there's like so many attractive people here. And, you know, I do a lot of work as an Uber driver. And as an Uber driver, I see a lot of beautiful women regularly that might be passengers that I'm driving from place to place, or I'm driving deliveries to, whatever it is. And I say to myself, sometimes I look at what I see online of the women that are on there, and I don't see as many beautiful women as I see around me and around my sphere as I would see online. So we are creating a delusion for ourselves. Women get the delusion because of social media, because they see what other women are getting to experience, and because it is a competition out there for some women to show they got it better than everybody else. And so every guy that's out there, there's only going to be a certain amount that are going to be out there. So it's going to just take away for men out there that want to find more. They're not going to be able to go and find, they're not going to be noticed, because the dynamic of a man who is attractive and well off, before social media, it was easier for men to be found because, number one, we didn't have to worry about the part of thinking there was going to be something better, like something even more significantly better than we thought. Because remember, what we're trying to attain to is almost impossible. So the women that men might want to seek out and look for might not be a reality to find. The same thing for women. It's obviously not that. They're not looking to go ahead and find some guy that just supports them and could just be somebody that just, you know, is some hardline physical labor type worker, or somebody just white collar. It doesn't matter where they come from, because they feel like now there is this value that's been put on women because of how they are noticed and appreciated and perceived online. There's a different persona for them that makes them feel like, well, there's absolutely then something more for me. That the old way of thinking, well, if I just find somebody that lives right around me, I'm going to just get lucky. Or the idea that when you have like one of those long distance relationships, right? We used to have all those where, oh, you meet somebody that's so far away and like you feel connected to them, pen pals. Well, it's changed now, because now we're just getting that false sense of fantasy that we can see somebody on a video screen and we can see and communicate with each other so easily. It's not as hard as it was to call long distance or to meet somebody in person. or even just going to do vacations, things like that. It's just much different. So that's what we're dealing with now more than ever. And that's what's honestly very unfortunate. So Dr. Marta Kowal is the one that did the study from the University of Wrocław, Institute of Psychology. Says that the differences are not dramatic, but they mark a shift from studies a decade ago, that there's a changing nature of online dating, and earlier platforms emphasized compatibility in long-term relationships. Modern apps focus now on rapid selection, often based on photos. Because of the short attention span that we have on the internet, more and more, the dating apps change to what they were. Because remember, the early dating apps were fantastic. The early online dating was exceptional because everybody kind of took it as, okay, this is the gateway to meet somebody that's near me that I probably would never bump into or never run into normally. And that was the good part. Love at AOL was a great way to get on there. You didn't have to go and pay for it. You'd go on the instant messenger, find that person's username, and then you'd hit them up and you could talk, just like you would do on Instagram. Slide into a DM. That's the early slide into a DM, as a matter of fact. And then the other one that was really great was eHarmony, because that relationship quiz that they put you through, they were really good at matching you with women that you would absolutely match with, because I felt like, 9 out of every 10 times, they picked somebody who was really good. I really can say that, at least for me, I probably wasn't exactly what the woman was looking for, because I was not mature enough to be in a relationship. But I can tell you that every girl that was offered to me, that responded to me on eHarmony, that matched, was exceptional. Beautiful, smart, lively, outgoing. It just fit what I was looking for at the time. And yeah, I struck out. But it was different at that point, because we also made the connection, and you're supposed to make that immediate point to get together. But now we have these ridiculous standards that are out there for guys that, my biggest problem is I don't talk to a girl these days anymore without thinking, okay, what is this going to cost me? Because I also see what social media and online dating has done, where women have found such a way to be so good at finding the right wardrobe and putting the right makeup on and looking their absolute best. But also, it costs so much money for them to go and get to that point. Because it's one thing to go ahead and try to put an investment in to try to look even more beautiful or enhance your beauty, but not knowing what to do or how to do it. But there's so many beauty tips out there, get ready with me segments that are out there for women to go ahead and really know how to put on their makeup if they want to do it, find the right products, because they're getting good recommendations, and the good recommendations are expensive. So remember, guys, that I look at when I see a woman that is absolutely like made together, put together, even when I was just going out and did a delivery at a Costco today, and I see a lady that was coming across, and she was middle-aged, but she had a nice dress on, a lot of makeup on, and I'm saying to myself, okay, and she is a professional woman, and I can tell you, like, all right, there's a lot of money behind what she's doing to put herself together, and like, if I even had the thought of like trying to ask her out on a date or just like stop her as like she was walking past me, just to go ahead and say something, what kind of financial investment is going to be coming in? Because I just think it that way. It's money minded. You got to be prepared for it. Like, it's not like, oh, money isn't everything, right? But the thing is that you have to really invest now more than ever, and that's something I'm not willing to give in, because it will be one thing if I knew that the investment would actually pay off. If I knew that I met with a woman and took the time to go ahead and get together and meet them and realize, okay, something's going to come from this. Because the woman is going to be coming into this relationship opportunity with a real chance at it. And I can't tell you how many times where I've had a woman that will just feel like there's no enthusiasm, no excitement, no anything into meeting up for that first date, second date, third date. And I'm like, well, why am I going to go through that for? And then meet other people. Or the one thing I had was a girl that wanted to meet together early and say, well, then she was going to go out with her friends later. No. All these red flags would come across. I'm not even worrying about that at all. No way. Now, the last few weeks, I've been bringing up the book, The Manipulated Man by Esther Villar. And as I say, every once in a while, I like to go and bring up this book. This is from the end of the book right here. There's a section where she asks the question, what is love? And I want to read this passage to you because it's very important what's being said here and the explanation of it. Because it just feels like what she's saying here in a good way, in somewhat everything. I'm not going to say that everything is absolutely accurate, but I think what she's saying here kind of really works with what's going on today. Again, this was some 55 years ago that this book was written. Now, she says here that man has been manipulated by women to the point where he cannot live without her, and therefore will do anything she asks of him. He fights for his life and calls it love. There are even men who will threaten their idolized female with suicide unless she accepts him. Not that this is much of a risk for them, they have nothing to lose. Women, nevertheless, is incapable of living without a man. We're learning about that right now more than anything, that women do not handle loneliness very well. And even with trying to find a relationship now, they're not satisfied, according to the study. Like a queen bee, Esther goes on, she cannot survive on her own. She too is fighting for her life, and she too calls it love. And remember, it's the primal dating thing that I talked with Tim Ash, that women are looking for someone to provide for them, to keep them secure and safe, and to take care of them. It's what this meant to be. Women are nurturers. Men are supposed to be the providers, the supporters, the strength, the chivalry, all that stuff, the gentleman, right? The cause, nature, and consequences of this sentiment, however, differ as much as do the sexes. To a woman, love means power. To a man, enslavement. Love provides women with an excuse for financial exploitation, man with an emotionally charged excuse. For the sake of love, woman will do things that are of advantage only to herself, while man only does things that will harm him. When a woman marries, she gives up her career for the sake of love, quote unquote. When a man marries, he will have to work for two for the sake of love. For both sexes, love is a fight for survival, but the one that survives only by being victorious, the other only by being defeated. It's a paradox that women also can make their greatest gains during moments of utter passivity, and that the word love endows them with a halo of selflessness, even at the moment of their most pitiless deception of man. As a result of love, quote unquote, man is able to hide his cowardly self-deception, behind a smokescreen of sentiment. He's able to make himself believe that his senseless enslavement of women and her hostages is more than an act of honor. It has a higher purpose. He is entirely happy in his role as a slave and has arrived at the goal he has so long desired. Since woman gains nothing but one advantage after another from the situation as it stands today, things will never change. The system forces her to be corrupt, but no one is going to worry about that, since one can expect nothing from a woman but love. It will remain the currency for any need she might have. Man, her slave, will continue to use his energies only according to his conditioning and never to its own advantage. He will achieve greater goals, and the more he achieves, the farther women will become alienated from him. The more he tries to ingratiate himself with her, the more demanding she will become. The more he desires her, the less she finds him desirable. The more comfort he provides for her, the more indolent, stupid, and inhuman she will become, and man will grow lonelier as a result. Only woman can break the vicious cycle of man's manipulation and exploitation, but she will not do it. There is absolutely no compelling reason why she should. It is useless to appeal to her feelings, for she is callous and knows no pity. And so the world will go on sinking deeper and deeper into this morass of kitsch, barbarism, and inanity called femininity. And man, that wonderful dreamer, will never awaken from his dream. And that's the point. The simping part of this scenario, which every guy goes through, which is what we have right now. Social media, the internet, has ingratiated women with an insurmountable amount of power. Men seeking love with a beautiful woman, with a special woman, a woman that they want to be with for the rest of her life. Women can hold that over their head. They are using themselves out there, their beauty, their assets, their looks, their youth, their beauty, as a carrot. It's a bait. It's a honey trap. And men will fall for it all the time. There are still plenty of men that will. And that's where I think sometimes now that we're at the point of situationships, that's why really young people are really feeling comfortable with, because they don't want to get involved with this because they realize, well, the internet has changed everything. The dynamic of just meeting somebody in person. By the way, that's the other thing that's got to be pointed out right here, quick here, because this is everybody going online dating, finding less relationship satisfaction. So what we need to understand is that we can go back to the way it was. We don't have to go through online dating. We do not have to let the internet dictate how we meet people, how we interact, and how we meet women that we want to be with, or men or women, the men you want to be with. Quit using the internet to ingratiate yourself, to amplify yourself, give yourself a delusion of a reality that's not true. When you really are not paying attention to how everything is in the world around you outside, you don't see that. And maybe you don't see it because you might be in the same city that some of these people are at, that are influencers or people that you look up to, and you're saying to yourself, well, if they can have it, why can't I? Remember, romantic relationship formation before all this, some 30 years ago, honestly. It's been 30 years. 93, 94. That's really when people really got a good chance to start online dating. That's when it really started. We might have had personal ads before in the day. We haven't had classifieds, things like that. But no, that's what it was. But we still had to meet each other, no matter what. You might have found a way to get that initial contact through words, but still, you had to meet that person. So what we had was the immediate social network, not the social network we have now today. And it often involved individuals living in close geographic proximity. People commonly met their future spouses through family and friends, at school, work, religious communities, or social venues such as bars. While many long-term partnerships were formed on the basis of love, in various cultural contexts, partner selection was arranged by family members and guided by practical or familial considerations. Think about some people that you know that are older that said, oh yeah, and I got set up on a date. Because then people had your best interest and said, you know what? This person could be matching with this person. They could find compatibility. We didn't need matchmakers. We'd have people that were just matchmakers of their own. For instance, I was an exceptional matchmaker because what I realized was I had my affinity for certain women that were beautiful, but you know what? I realized they were not going to be for me. But you know what? When I couldn't have them, I realized I could introduce them to somebody else because I found girls that were single, and then I could get them set together. I did that for several guys that I was friends with. But then again, I also had friends of mine that were kind of moochers that also decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and hook up with a girl that, I went out with. I had one guy that did that more than once. There was a girl that I met, didn't work out, only was like a first date or something like that. And then this guy proceeds to go ahead and go out with her after the fact. It's just one of those things. Retrospective data from the United States illustrate how these patterns of partner selection changed over time. So remember, this is before the internet. It was very interesting. Look at the difference we have right now. So let's say 1950s, 1960s, right? People met through friends 30% of the time. They would meet partners through family 27% of the time. At school, 24%. Bars and restaurants, 13%. Through or as neighbors, 12%. In church, 9%. 8% at work. 6% in college. And remember, work is like, yeah, how are you supposed to be screwing around at work? But yeah, what happened? And then in the 2000s, in the new millennium, it's changed because meeting partners online have become the most common method now of meeting, 39%. Surpassing all traditional meeting venues. So bars and restaurants now are the highest percentage of how people might meet in person, 27%. Through friends, 20%. Work, 11%. But now, the other way around for family, school, colleges, church, or neighborhoods is down to under 10%, respectively, in every category. Tells you a lot. We get a false sense of delusion and grandeur by what we see online. And it's hard to go ahead and just not look at these thirst traps out here or to be simping for these thirst traps and say to yourself, man, like, look who's beautiful out there. And for girls that I know that I meet online and that I'm very enamored with, that I'm attracted to, and, I fantasize about the fact that, there's just some women that I've met and encountered that are just so beautiful that if I had them, they were here, I would be the happiest man in the world. I've said that before. But the thing is that it is true. But it's not how it was supposed to be. Like, I'm not going to go to another country, if I wanted to go find some girl that I met in Africa or in Latin America or in the Caribbean or wherever, or in Asia, and try to hook up. I mean, that's a big thing. Passport bros are trying to live out the fantasy. Very difficult, but it's popular. And, there are some people that are able to go and do it. They have the means to do that, and good on them for them to try anyway. There's a lot to be said. And the other thing they saw was a shift to where this type of online relationships and the way that people are feeling about themselves, that there's less, that the shift might reduce homogamy. Now, let me give the definition of that term. It means similarity between partners in education, socioeconomic status, or background, factors linked to stronger relationships. That couples meeting online also typically lack shared social circles, which can support relationship stability. Right. How many guys do you know that are hanging around with a bunch of other guys giving advice, or girls hanging around with a bunch of other girls giving advice or consulting on somebody that they're dating? It's not so much of that anymore either. We don't have that kind of support like that anymore. Not as much as there was. And the whole thing about that we do not care about being compatible with somebody that is as smart as us, lives the same kind of means as us, has the same kind of cultural or ethnic or, religious background. Like, all that doesn't matter anymore. But those are factors that are extra things that also bring us closer together. Because we're not worrying about that stuff anymore. The idea of not meeting somebody through family or church or neighborhood organizations or bars and restaurants, like, it's all changed. It's definitely changed a lot. There's a new study from OnlyFans. I should bring this up now, and I'll probably, if I get a chance, I might just go ahead and follow more into it. I don't know if I'll do an extra episode or if I'll just table it into next week. OnlyFans becomes the alternative income source for U.S. college students amid rising tuition costs. This story comes out, and that OnlyFans, for some college students, it's a means to supplement their income while navigating the soaring costs of higher education. Rising tuition costs now have compounded the platform's appeal. According to the Education Data Initiative, the average cost of attending college in the U.S. is now about $38,270 per year in 2025. Remember, more women go to college than men now. And student loan interest also factored in. The lifetime cost of a bachelor's degree can reach as high as $500,000. Damn. For many students, OnlyFans is offering a flexible way to earn money that helps offset tuition and living expenses. Experts caution the decision carries long-term risks. And there's a person that's creating a new documentary series called Lonely Fans. His name is Rock Jacobs. He says that it's a payroll system, quote, what creators have been able to do is use sex to prey on lonely people, and because of technology, anybody can have a payroll. He goes on to say that there's some people that really need money, and this is such an easy way to do it. It comes quick, and you know that you will make money. So this is a series that's going to be coming up soon called OnlyFans, and I'm going to learn more about it. If there's anything else that pops up that I should go ahead and bring to this program, I will. But as soon as it happens, we'll go ahead and give you more information about it. So as I always talk about, maybe there's something more to the fact that we need to get ourselves offline once again and enjoy ourselves, because maybe we can go ahead and find somebody at a bar or restaurant just out and about. Not worry about somebody we're going to see online. We meet somebody in person. We might get to hook up. We might get to do something depraved and debaucherous.